Hi, welcome to today's pep talk, More Curious Than Afraid. Something I've been wanting to try for quite some time is stand-up paddleboarding. My husband and I recently went to Florida and I decided this was the trip in which I was going to try stand-up paddleboarding. For those of you who may not know what that is, it is a surfboard-like board that you stand up on and you have a paddle and you use that to maneuver yourself through the water. So we found this place, a little cove kind of area where the water was pretty still. It was a pretty still day with regards to the wind, and the water's very clear and it's not too deep. Something maybe you need to know about me is that I have a real respect for the ocean. I recognize that the tide can pull me away from the shore or it can pull me back into the shore. I also know there's some very large creatures that live in the ocean that have very sharp teeth, and these creatures are called sharks. And I have a real respect for those sharks as well. So being in an area where I could see what was in the water and it not being too deep was, helpful to me, just in not being quite as intimidated about learning how to do this in the ocean. So we get on the paddle boards and we're out and we're exploring and we're seeing some really amazing things in the water, which also include a shark and a mother shark and her baby shark. And I didn't freak out. I didn't fall off the paddleboard. Everything was fine. And there was this one area that my husband was wanting to explore. And, for my husband, he grew up in Miami. He's a surfer. Being in the ocean is just second nature to him. So there was this one area that he wanted to go to, and the water was very dark. You couldn't see in the water. It was much deeper, and it was also surrounded by trees and bushes. It was kind of had a swampy feel to it. It wasn't swamp area by any means, but it had a swampy feel to it. So it just felt kind of scary to me. And I said, no, I think we're just fine where we are. I would like to stay in the area where I can see what's underneath me and see what's in front of me. So we continue, paddling around, and we go back to shore and get some water, and we come back out, and, we continue with the journey. And I thought, you know what, I can do this. I want to go over to that area. I want to see what's over there. I haven't fallen off the paddle board. I feel like I have a pretty good handle of what I need to do here. I don't need to be afraid of that. This is something I can do. I can do this. So we go over to that area and we explore, and it was absolutely no problems. There wasn't a big shark that came out of the water to get me. Yes, I was a child who watched the movie Jaws one too many times. So I have an image of that very large shark coming out and grabbing me. And so we, ended our journey at some point, and we head back in. And later that evening, when my husband and I were just talking about the paddleboarding and all the different things that we saw, he made the comment that you were more curious than afraid. Now, my understanding is that came from a book that he read that's called Zen Golf. And I thought, oh, what a great way to say that I was more curious than I was afraid. And not only about paddleboarding in general, but also with regards to that one area of the ocean that was rather intimidating to me, that I was much more curious than I was afraid, because I wanted to go out there and I wanted to see, what was around and see what was going on in that part of the ocean. And I just think about so many other areas of my life where I've been more curious than I've been afraid. And I think about how if we challenge ourselves with that fear and we do push through it, that just perpetuates through other things in our life. That if maybe earlier on in our life we stop because we're scared and we don't do it, how many other things do we maybe hinder ourselves from doing because we're fearful? Where if you push through that fear, you overcome it, that, who knows what might be on the other side of that. And that could apply to anything, not just paddleboarding. That could be a promotion at work. It could be a class maybe that you want to take, or even an exercise class that you want to take, but you're fearful that other people are going to be looking at you and you won't know what you're doing, or look like you won't know what you're doing. So I challenge you that to walk away from this pep talk with maybe being a little bit more curious than you are afraid. Don't allow the fear to hinder you from trying things in your life, no matter how big or how small they might be. Who knows? You might even see a mama shark and a baby shark in the water.